Okay, so I started learning guitar at around September of 2020, and it wasn't until like mid 2021 where I first started diving into the Chili Pepper discography. I'd always known them, like my dad has always been playing their music since I was a kid, but I didn't really dive into their music on the guitar until then. It wasn't just that, it was live performances and John's solo stuff as well. And to this day, there's always one thing that John does on the guitar that sticks out to me the most, and it's stuck with me since the moment I heard it for the first time, and that's the Danny California lick at the end of the solo. That really erratic, intense wah with the DS2 cranked kind of sound with some fuzz, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And basically to this day, like, I just love when he does that in a live performance. It brings such an erratic intensity. Like, I've never heard any other guitarist kind of do that. Like, there's guitarists who've added drive with a wah, of course. There's so many different sounds that guitarists have made, but that particular sound is so unique. And I kind of like relate that to John when I hear it. And in videos that I've been recently posting, I've been getting a lot of comments, even on the Chili Pepper subreddit that I post on often. A lot of people have been asking how I play that lick so accurately, tone-wise and like playing-wise. And that's kind of why I want to make this video, because I feel like listening to it, it can be very intimidating hearing it and being like, oh shit, I want to play that. But I'm gonna break it down and kind of explain how he's doing it and how to kind of get the sound with pedals as well as playing the actual lick. And hopefully I can help you out with playing that. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so for this specific lick, I don't want to dive too much into the tone. I have a bunch of other videos on my channel you can check out. I kind of have two main ones that break down my tone. If you're interested in like kind of soloing more than just this lick in the style of John, I'm gonna add a card on this screen here and you can go check it out. It's on my channel, I just posted it recently. The only thing I kind of want to say for this specific lick is you're gonna need a wah pedal and preferably the DS2. Like, there's no other distortion pedal that can replicate the DS2 sound that I'm aware of. I don't think any wah works. There's something specific about the sweep in an Ibanez wah that can't be replicated. Let's just jump right into the lick. I don't want to take up too much time talking about gear. Like I said, the Strat into the DS2, into the Ibanez wah, and then I have a Hall of Fame too, just for some reverb, but any reverb pedal will do. And straight into an interface running through GarageBand as my DAW. You can just check out my video on my channel. Like I said, it'll break down everything like this. So without further ado, let's get into it. The lick itself, I would suggest starting off at a slow pace. I wouldn't jump right into playing it at the speed he does. He'll play it slow, he'll play it fast sometimes. He'll play it erratically and he'll play it less erratically. It really depends on how you feel. And that's one thing that I take from John's playing is take your influences and make it your own. Let's start out with the Danny California, because he does it in a bunch of different keys, but the main key that I'm gonna play in today is D minor. Start in that position. I kind of speak about it in my last video. If you don't know your pentatonic scale, I'll put it up on the screen shortly here, but go ahead and learn that because all of John's kind of main stuff is in the pentatonic scale. The lick starts with a bend on the 12th fret on the G string. So it's just kind of like a, and it chokes out after. So it's not a bend where he's holding it. It's not a, or a, it's just a, essentially, it is just a, and you stop it once you hit that note. So try and match it to the, and as soon as it hits that, you stop it. What I'm doing is using the fat on my finger here, right, to kind of mute the top strings. I don't have a second camera angle, unfortunately, and I'd love to upgrade that if this channel got to that point, but I'm essentially just using the fat on my finger to sit on the top strings, and I might do a lesson on all that kind of stuff of John's muting techniques with his left hand and his right hand. This is a pretty common one. It's kind of sitting, and then I'm just gonna bend, and I put my hand back on that string. Or you can just take your fingers off the off the fretboard with your left hand. The more you do it, you can pause this video, rewind this part, and kind of match what I'm doing if that's easier for you. Anyways, and then it goes to the 10th fret B string. Bend. And then you're gonna hit the 13th fret of the B. You're gonna pick it, and then you're also gonna pick, you're gonna go back down and you're gonna pick the 10th fret again on the B. So, and essentially, all together, it's, and then the faster you get, you kind of lose the, becomes like hammer on pull-offs after, but once I get further on in the video, you'll see what I mean. So to recap, it's the bend on the 12th fret, full step, and you kind of stop it, you choke it out on the G string of the 12, sorry. And then the B string on the 10, 13th fret on the B, and then back to the 10 on the B. Now the erraticness and the intensity comes from the right hand here. Obviously the pedals change the sound rather than having just a clean guitar. It comes from the right hand, and how I just played it there is not how he plays it in Danny California and in intense solos to bring that erraticness that I'm talking about. So essentially, after you do the practice it like that and build up your speed. Maybe slow down the song on YouTube with the speed feature and play along with it at a slower speed, and then just build up as you get more comfortable. Now I'm gonna kick on the pedals and you're gonna hear the difference even at that speed. So you can hear how it already adds that like fuzzy kind of distorted, obviously, kind of signal, and the wah adds that like sweeping, I don't even know how to explain it, but it's very intense and erratic. As I was saying, it comes from the right hand. So what you're gonna do when you get more comfortable with it is, instead of picking now, you're gonna wanna strum it. And what you can do is use the fat on your hand to sit on the A or the E, A, and D string. That way you can strum less accurately and kind of make it more like this rather than just picking the B and the G, because those are the only two notes that you're, or two strings that you're playing the lick with. And then the high E kind of gets muted with this index finger. As it sits on the 10th fret of the B, the fat on the back of the finger here kind of rests on that B, on the high E string, and it just floats. That way it sounds like that. So now if I strum that lick, you can see and hear that I'm not just hitting these two strings, the G and the B. I'm gonna be hitting sometimes the D and the E, which isn't accurate, but you can get away with it if you learn how to mute with your left and your right hand, right? You can hear that. So what he's doing is he's strumming the riff. He's strumming the lick instead of picking it, so. So you'll see what I mean there. I'm not picking it like I was in the beginning, showing you like, it's a strum. Do it slow, like I said. You should be able to mute those strings while you're strumming it. That way you don't have to strum so accurately on just those two strings like this. It works, it definitely works, but if you wanna just go at it with your right hand on your strings, learn how to mute it, and it'll just allow more power on your right hand. You can kind of just go at those strings. I don't know if any of you've seen like John's picks after a show, like even already there's a little bit of a chip just from doing that lick, but his are like destroyed at the end of a show, and he has such a heavy right hand, and I mean, I've never seen him play it super up close to the point where I can see if he's muting the strings or not, or if he's just kind of picking it accurately. But you can learn to do it both ways, whichever suits your playing style, right? But essentially, that's all the lick is. It helps if you put a stank face on and you'll play it better. To get from to the only thing that is separating you between playing it like that in the beginning and how I played it second is practice. Like, I can't stress that enough. It's not just playing it once. You'll get a feel of how to play that. If you play it over and over and over again, you can't just learn it once and then drop it and pick it up every like month or so. Stay consistent with it and you'll be able to play it like in no time, depending on what level you're at, obviously. A tip I'll give is with the wah, when you kick it on, don't just leave it full tilt when you do it. When you hear me, I'll play it again, but if you can hear me doing it, keep it in mind that I'm bringing my wah back almost halfway. As the lick comes to an end, I'm kind of pushing it full tilt, and that's what gives it that sweeping like that high frequencies kind of come in. It's very sloppy. It gives that effect when it's really messy with the right hand. I'll play it again and keep the wah in mind. And yeah, basically that's kind of how I learned it. I watched a bunch of videos of how John played it, and then I do want to give a shout out to Dave Simpson. Everybody who's watching this video probably knows who he is. I've mentioned him a few videos back. If it wasn't for him, I literally wouldn't be where I am today on the guitar. He pretty much taught me all I know in terms of like how to play like John. So I would check him out. I'll link him in the description. But like I said, go back and watch a bunch of their live performances and how John plays it himself. There's a bunch of concerts out there where they're zooming in on his hands. Search up Danny California Live and you can watch a bunch. That's kind of how I came to learn it. I didn't have a teacher or anything. I just kind of used YouTube, and it was just trial and error and staying at it consistently. I had COVID kind of as a positive in this scenario. I know it kind of negatively affected everybody in some way, but I found a positive through it, and I was able to play guitar for a long period of time. I was in high school at the time, so I kind of just muted my online class and just learned guitar as the classes were going on. I was able to literally play for like close to 7-8 hours a day. Kind of fucked, but yeah, that's kind of how I got to this point. I would just throw backing tracks on and listen to John live almost all day long and pick up on licks that he was doing and try and learn them by ear. And if it wasn't that, I was learning a song or a solo or even rhythm guitar behind the solos, like everything, just to kind of wrap my head around how he approaches the guitar. Yeah, I would say it was kind of like an unhealthy obsession, but kind of want to end this video before it gets really dark out because the sun's starting to set. As you can tell, it's getting darker in here and you might not be able to see it, but I'll overlay some guitar throughout that video with some better lighting, close up on my fingers and close up on my strumming hand and showing how to do the muting and whatnot. But if you do have any questions, feel free to send me a message on Instagram or in the comments. I kind of try and reply to everything I can in the comments. If you do feel super generous, check out my band. I am in a band. We have some stuff online. I'll link it in the description. It's nothing too Chili Pepper-esque, but you know, feel free to check it out, and if you enjoy it, let me know down in the comments below. And now I'm gonna start getting some more talking videos like this out. I'm still new to, you know, teaching to a camera or just teaching in general. I've never really given any lessons or anything. I'm just trying to pass my knowledge that I've learned over the last 5 years to other people who are aspiring to play like John or just learn the guitar and approach it that way in general. If you have any ideas, also comment them below and I'll try and get to them. Or if I think it's a common thing that everybody's asking for, I will kind of make a video about it and address it from my perspective. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I really appreciate you sticking around to the end, and I'll see you in the next video.